found helpful for my practice, but also for a kind of guideline in many situations in life. It's actually a title of a book about how to support people in their death process. And that pith instruction is stay close and do nothing. Stay close and do nothing. I have been fortunate enough to be able to support people in their death process. And luckily, I remembered when I enter the room to stay close and do nothing. So not to turn up as the expert. Not turn up with advice, but to trust the loving presence and do nothing. And I found that often in life, that is a really helpful guideline. Not the only guideline, obviously, but often it's a valid response. The most kind of intelligent, healthy response is sometimes to pause and to stay close and do nothing. I just had a conversation with a psychotherapist. She told me, older I get, less I do and more I achieve. And it's difficult to trust. For many years I was always so anxious when I was more anxious about meeting people in conversations than I would be in giving a talk like this. I was more anxious. I mean, most people are really anxious about sitting in this place and talking to a group. But I was more anxious of meeting someone. And one of the most helpful things my supervisor said to me, not the only useful thing, but one of the most useful things it took me about a year to really grow into that, but what he said was, it's enough if you are a loving witness. I can do that. It's enough when you are a loving witness. Yeah, I'm a loving witness. I don't need to fix you, I don't need to give you advice, I don't need to come up with I don't need to learn more wonderful controlling, fixing techniques, but I'm just here. And whatever it is, I stay close, whatever it is. I'm not afraid to touch anything, but I also don't feel that I have to be smart or move things on or something like that, because me being the loving witness creates the field where change can happen, either from here or from there. Doesn't matter where it then arises from. So stay close and do nothing. So the same in meditation practice. So if you bring it into your meditation practice, in your sitting, so stay close and do nothing. So I would like to move now until summer more into nothing. So I will try to sell you nothing. That's so wonderful, isn't it? Everyone wants to give you something, wants to sell you something. And my inspiration is to give you nothing. I can already feel how scary it is. Do you have nothing? Yeah, I have nothing. So another word for that is, I said last time, natural awareness. And today I want to share with you three different skills which might be a support in shifting or sliding into natural awareness. And these three skills are focused awareness, flexible awareness, and open awareness. And then there's natural awareness. But natural awareness is undescribable, ungraspable. So nothing can be really said about that. Nevertheless, I will say something about it. But it's easy to say something about focus awareness and flexible awareness and open awareness. And these three skills I have been teaching here. And I will just very shortly say something about this, and then we will do the first sitting, and then I will flesh it out a bit. So focus awareness is, what many people cultivate when they meditate. Yeah? So it's the cultivation of stable attention. So focus awareness, you have one object, for example the breath, and you stay engaged in the breath. And then when you lose focused awareness, you notice, and then you bring your attention back to the meditation object, the breath, for example, as an example. So that's focus awareness. Flexible awareness, I also taught a lot here. That is, within that, to become a bit more flexible. So in flexible awareness, it's called also choiceless awareness. You are open to make that the meditation object which presents itself. So it's like you don't make a choice, like, okay, so I'm doing the breathing meditation. So in flexible awareness, it is the skill to make that which arises the meditation object. So for example, if you train focus awareness and suddenly there is fear. So instead of seeing that as an obstacle, in flexible awareness, you have understood this is also a meditation object. I turn my attention to that. So that's flexible awareness. Open awareness or panoramic awareness, traditionally called shamatha without object, is when the meditation object becomes the whole field, including the space in which everything is happening. The whole field, including not only the objects of your awareness, but the space within the objects come and go. So if you use the metaphor of the sky, the meditation objects becomes the clouds, but also the sky, both. And shamatha without object or panoramic awareness then naturally leads into natural awareness, which is undescribable. So I can't say more about it. So I will, in our first sitting, I will guide you a bit into these three ways. Yeah. Focused awareness, flexible awareness, panoramic or open awareness. So focused awareness, kind of choosing the cloud which you want to focus on. Flexible awareness, being flexible enough, if there's a thundercloud coming, you work with that. Open panoramic awareness, you are aware of all the clouds, but also the sky. And natural awareness, that's the okay. So let's play a bit with this. Yeah, you already do it. So it's, you adjust your posture, particularly if you have this tendency to sit a bit tight, and because you think you need to force yourself in some meditation posture, then you back up a bit, you soften without becoming sloppy. And then if you like, you can close your eyes. And you start by becoming aware of your posture and the way you sit. It's a gentle shift from the busyness of the day to being here. And part of that shift is that there's a sense of shifting from the head into the body, shifting from planning and controlling, trying to get somewhere, to being here. Almost as if you are sliding with your attention or your awareness into the body, maybe supported with the in-breath, if that helps. You can also take a couple of deeper in and out breaths. You even notice your feet and your legs. And you start to appreciate your inner life, you start to appreciate what you bring with you into this moment. Well, how's the inner weather? Notice the flow of energies in your body. And if you notice that you try to get rid of something, or you try to attain something, see if you can relax with the out breath, that grasping, embracing or allowing what is. as best as you can. As thoughts continue to arise, that's fine. And maybe it's possible to let them drift a bit into the background or into peripheral awareness. And you dance with the energies in your body, the sensations in your body. And then if possible, connected with the out-breath, you might be able to release some of the tension, some of the effort in your belly, in your shoulders, and if you do that, you notice that your whole body softens a bit, opens a little. So with the in-breath sliding, dropping into the body, and then with the out-breath, letting go of the control freak. And then when you notice that you get entangled into the stream of thinking and the mental images, gently you drop back into your hands, into your belly, into the breath. And resting. Give yourself the permission to do nothing. And returning softening, staying close and do nothing, being a loving witness. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing you need to understand. So focused attention or focused awareness is choosing. And I suggest now for a few moments to make your meditation object the sensation in your hands, combined a bit with the breath. So as if you are breathing into the hand or hands or through the hands. So you narrow down your focus in, so you narrow down without bringing tension into it. Not too much effort, just very little. And you notice the aliveness in your hands with a bit of breath awareness. Everything else you ignore lovingly. The important thing here is to become aware when you build up tension in your belly or in your shoulders, in your face, and then you soften again, and you start to dance with hands and breath. Everything else can happen as well. So it's not that you need to stop thinking or that I need to stop talking. But you bring the hands and the breath into the foreground. And then you rest there. You rest in the breath and in your hands. Here the meditation object is not the mental image of the hands, but the energy, the sensations. So you stay close. And then you relax. And if you notice that you get entangled into something else, you gently fall back. You gently slide back. So now if we shift into flexible awareness, maybe you already noticed that something wanting to come into the foreground. You know, something is kind of intruding, calling for your attention. It could be that it is something rather unpleasant. It could be that it is something pleasant. That doesn't matter. So flexible awareness would be to shift your awareness, to shift your attention to that which wants to be noticed, which wants to be felt. So I invite you to feel into what is needing attention right now in your inner life. And you can still have a bit of awareness in the breath. So it's as if you're breathing into and embracing. And you stay close. The hands go into peripheral awareness. There's another object in the foreground. And you notice when you do that, that there might be a change. Maybe it becomes more distinct, or it actually starts to soften or dissolve. Maybe it stays the same. And then after a while, maybe something else wants to emerge. And you allow that to happen. Not like jumping back and forth, but so it's find your own slow pace in this. And then you dance with that, breathing into that. Loving that as best as you can, being a loving witness. If this becomes a bit too overwhelming, you might want to go back to focus attention, back to the breath and the hands. Returning, resting. And stay. then the third skill is panoramic awareness or open awareness. And that is as if you are sitting by the beach and just open your body, your heart, your senses to the whole experience, including the space, including the vastness. Sensations in your body, sounds, thoughts, feelings, and space. If this is a bit too much now, you return to focused attention or flexible attention. Part of open awareness is that you also become aware what is behind you. So if for a few moments now you bring your attention to the back, so can you feel the cloth on your skin in the back? Feel into the back, as if you feel into, hear into, look into the back. And then from there you include 30, 60 degree. And if it becomes too much, you return to your hands and your breath. And then opening into space all around. No choosing, no picking. Let the waves come and go. Meditating like the sky. And resting. Focused awareness, flexible awareness, and open awareness. That's something you can play with. according to your interest and according to your needs. Just get a sense of the difference. And notice what feels good for you, wholesome. And it is with open awareness where you really start to learn the art of allowing, or the art of doing nothing. Effortless beingness. Non-controlling, non-interfering, non-fixing. Letting go of the need to feel good. And being with space and movement. Being with the wind and the space. And resting. Find a place of rest. If you find yourself entangled in the stream of thinking, probably it's helpful to rest a bit with focused awareness, or if it's possible to just open into space. Tension builds up in your face, in your shoulders, in the belly. You soften. Stay close and do nothing. resting, opening. So with open awareness, panoramic awareness, you slowly get into the territory of natural awareness. And last time I shared some glimpse practices. And a time-tested glimpse practice is a question. And that question is, what is aware? So not going into the head and trying to find an answer, but look. What is aware? There's the breath, there's the sounds, there's the sensations, there's the thoughts. So you're aware of them. What is aware? What is that? What is experiencing this? Look. What is experiencing this? Look. Look there. So you turn attention to itself. To the source. You turn attention to where the looking comes from. You look into that which is looking. What do you see? So focus attention is pretty obvious, and there's a lot to say about it, and I'm going to continue to talk about it in the future also. So that's pretty obvious. It's something you do, and it's even something you can get better at if you do it. And it has many benefits, yeah. And yeah, so I could talk a few weeks about focus attention, and the knowledge about this, about that in the Tibetan tradition is really profound, often described in 9 stages. So this is a kind of training, you could say. It's a mental training. And that's where some so-called mindfulness trainings actually stop. So, and then you have flexible awareness, which is actually a helpful tool also within developing stable awareness or focused awareness. And I've explained in the past how if the practice of focusing your attention can become a kind of healing practice by integrating and bringing that which comes up in your meditation, which in some would call them hindrances or obstacles, how this can be actually a very wonderful healing process. Once you have understood that what you want to heal, you need to touch. Nothing is being healed by ignoring it, by pushing it away. So flexible attention is such a wonderful ingredient in one's meditation practice. It really becomes fun, and it is also a way. It's a way to get to know yourself. It's like a path of self-knowledge. Get to know yourself by getting to know what's coming up when you sit quietly, not making some things you don't like, not making them a problem or something which shouldn't happen, but actually be excited about it and curious. And then panoramic or open awareness is one of the ways some people who kind of have this tendency to struggle in their meditation practice, kind of because they bring not so healthy habits into it. Sometimes, sometimes it happens that people they struggle and feel so frustrated with their meditation practice, and then when they get instructions of the shamatha without object or open panoramic awareness, it's like, and it's strange for them to experience that the peace they want to attain through focused attention is actually reveals itself once they take the fingers away. It's obvious that what happens easily with open focus awareness that you kind of space out or that you get completely distracted. So then it makes sense to be able to move creatively within your meditation practice. So what is it what makes sense now? What is it what I need? And quite often what we need at the beginning is some kind of focused awareness. But then to kind of let the mind, give the wild horse of your mind a big pasture, instead of trying to control it. So it's like you just give the horse a big pasture and it just runs. And then slowly it starts to calm down. And it starts to settle. And one of the images they use in the Tibetan tradition is, if you have a glass of water with mud in and you stir it, so the water is the natural clarity of your mind, the natural stillness, the natural radiance of your mind. So, but there's mud, yeah? So that's thoughts, feelings, restlessness, discomfort in the body, all that stuff. So how would you calm this down? Yeah. So definitely one way is to put the glass down and do nothing. So open panoramic awareness is also called allowing the mind to settle in its natural state. So that's this. What happens when you stop to control, stop to fix, then things start to settle by themselves, like the particles in the water. And then the peace or the stillness which you wanted to attain through kind of trying to control the particles arises by itself. And actually, quite often, trying to control the particles, you create the opposite. You stir things more up, because what you want to control will resist. Tara Brach, in one of her latest podcasts, she talks about this. She tells this story about the first Air Force pilots who went beyond the gravity field. So they started to go higher than anyone else before. So they moved into that field beyond gravity. So what happened for these pilots, that the laws of gravity, which they learned to master in their flying, they didn't apply anymore. So what happened when they entered this space, the plane started without control, started to spin. Yeah, there was. And all they knew is control. So they tried everything, but every control made it worse. And they were like, gun control, what should I do now? Yeah. But they didn't know what to do, because it was they haven't been in that kind of experience. So they gave some advice, but everything they did made it worse. So the planes really went wild. Until the point that some of the pilot lost consciousness. He passed out. He couldn't control anymore. So what happened was that the plane came into a balance. And then that pilot regained consciousness and was like, what happened here? How did I do that? Yeah. So that changed the game for the pilots completely, because they realized once they reached that state, they had to let go of control. They had to take the fingers off. Yeah. It's a powerful little story about bringing a quality of non-controlling, non-interfering, non-fixing into your meditation practice. So in the Tibetan tradition, shamatha without object, or this, letting things be as they are, is usually not taught to beginners. So usually, you start with control. You learn the skills of control. Yeah. And then, but I found it's very different for people. So it's also about trusting what works for you. You know? And it will be always different, depending on how much the material is coming up in your meditation. So it's something you have to, nobody can tell you this. I mean, there will be plenty of meditation teachers who just teach you the control method. Yeah? But and that might be helpful for you. But if it isn't, then it's good to have some more skills developed. And then you just dance with these 3 skills. Focused, focused, flexible, and then open, panoramic awareness. So in the Tibetan tradition, at one point you kind of want to go into shamatha without objects. Kind of, yeah? So you want to let go of the controlling in your meditation practice and move into meditation like the sky, panoramic open awareness. The reason for that is that is the stepping stone into the practice of natural awareness. Another name for that is awareness of awareness. Or another name is meditation on the nature of your mind. Yeah? So that's the practice in the Mahamudra and Dzogchen tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. In the Thai forest tradition, it's called getting to know the one who knows. Getting to know the one who knows. And one, not the person, yeah? The one who knows. So this question, what is aware? Yeah? So what is aware? So now, nobody can explain this to you, what that is. And also nobody can exactly tell you how to do it. Focused awareness, flexible awareness, open awareness, so people can explain you how to do it. And it's, you can do it and you can get better at it. But natural awareness, there is no trick. Like there is no method. I can't say, okay, just do this and this and this, and then this is natural awareness. It's not like that. Yeah. So that's where glimpse practices come in. And I talked about it last time. Yeah? So glimpse practices. So glimpse practices are short interventions. For example, this question, which is like a koan. This question is like a koan. Yeah? In the Japanese Zen tradition, they use koans to make this happen. So you sit like 10 years passionately with a question you can't answer. And you struggle and you control and you think and whenever you come to the master and you deliver the answer, he is doing like that. Bullshit. And then you go back. Or he says, yeah, nice, but not Zen. And then you go back. Yeah? And you struggle until that moment where something happens. Something happens. It's like a shift. It's like a shift of consciousness. But all words are not it. Yeah, but it's a shift. So it's not like it's a very distinct shift. It's very precise. It's not like some fluffy blah blah blah. Yeah. So it is a very precise shift, and the Zen master will recognize that shift. He will know, and it doesn't matter what you say. It's not like if you say, there was a shift. Well, it feels like that or so. Nice. Not Zen. Yeah. So in that shift, that is the shift of the mystic. And when that shift happens, depending on what kind of culture you live in or what kind of language you have, you tell stories about it, you sing songs about it, you build cathedrals from it, or you write poems, or you keep quiet. Just quiet. That's what the Buddha did after this. He decided, nobody is understanding this. I just shut my mouth. Fortunately, God came and asked him, oh please, try. So this shift is something we all experience. So that's one way. Last time I told the story here, where that kind of shift happened. When I was a teenager. So it's not alien to us. Yeah. Well, let's say to most of us, I think. We remember something from childhood. We remember moments where something shifted. So something like suddenly you felt safe in a very radical way. So a Christian mystic would say, I am in the presence of God, and you know it. And there's no doubt about it. So we can make us available to that. And kind of 90%, or I don't know, but a lot of the teachings in Buddhism are about creating that foundation, making us available for this moment of grace. This is Christian talk. They don't use that in the Buddhist things, but for this moment of transmission, it's called transmission in the Buddhist teachings. So transmission is not that something is given to you which you don't have. A transmission is that something is pointed out to you which is always there. You just don't, because it's always there, so that means it's very close and very familiar. It's like imagine a fish in the ocean looking for water. Yeah? So that's a bit our situation. Now this water is called natural awareness. Yeah? The nature of your mind, your essence, your something like that, whatever word you want to know. So you swim in the ocean, and so you get all these advices and teachings, focus attention, open awareness, blah blah blah. Yeah? And water. Yeah? The water of life. The problem is not that the water is far away or that the water is complicated. The problem is that it's too close, too simple, too obvious. So a transmission is meeting the Dalai Lama fish, who says, and the Dalai Lama fish is just resting there. Yeah. And then you come there, your little fish, seeking for water. No, if the Dalai Lama is a charlatan, he will sell you water. That's what people do. They sell you water. And then the Dalai Lama fish will say, wow, you are so lucky that you found me because I'm the one who has water. So, but the real Dalai Lama fish, of course, he does not want to sell you water. He just says, relax. Relax. There's only water. There's water around you, pervading water, and actually your body itself and the seeking itself is the water. You never left the water, you never get closer to the water, you can never lose the water. This is all the water. And nothing what you did with this all swimming around brought you closer to the water. You had to do it. I'm sorry, because otherwise you wouldn't have believed me, like the Dalai Lama says. If I would have met you 10 years ago, and I would say, relax, it's all the water, you would not have believed me. What? So simple? So close? Just for free? Without reading books? Without doing retreats? Without all of that? You wouldn't have believed me. I had to let you swim a bit, trying to get to the water. And then that moment, when you're ready, when you have struggled enough, when you're ready to give up self-improvement, when you give up the hope that there's a better future, that there's something better than this, somewhere, that something is missing, something you need to find in a book, some guru needs to give you, or something. If you really are ready to give up, then the transmission can happen. Before that, which is also important, we can have like little glimpses, little breaks, like the little fish, why he is swimming. He has this kind of, the sunset, no, they don't have sunset. But yeah, but probably, like some sunlight coming in, yeah. So we have these moments, and they are called glimpses. Yeah? And that's like, part of this is appreciating these glimpses and starting to trust them. And you start to get a sense that Dzogchen teachers, Mahamudra teachers, Advaita Vedanta teachers, Zen masters, Christian mystics, you start to recognize the taste, the flavor. At one point, it will not matter to you if you read a poem from the Desert Fathers or from Milarepa. You will recognize they are coming from the same place, they're describing the same experience. So you get familiar with it. Not you, because you don't get anything out of this. Yeah? But that which is already free in you gets familiar with it. So in a way, if I dare to talk about this a bit more, I'm actually not talking to you. Because you will never get it. So what I try to do, that's my intention, I speak from the heart to the heart. From Buddha nature to Buddha nature. And you can listen, and that's why I had to talk about anatta first, no self. Because what is going to happen is that you will claim this. The ego, what you could call the ego or the egoic process, will claim spiritual experiences and use it for its self-inflation. So that's why I choose to first talk about anatta, yeah? So to recognize that identification with a centered position is a hallucination. Okay, so let's have a break.